It's a bit of a mixed up monologue or show, if you like, today, because so many of my lovely emailers come in and they send me emails. And if I could get all my words in the right order, that would have made sense. And there's so much information that people want to share and get out there. And sometimes it's difficult to sort of think, well, this is important, that's important, what should I get out? So I thought, because it's a Friday as I record this, it's the end of the first week in January, as it were, let's bung in a few together and see if we can examine a few things. Now, in yesterday's monologue, in fact, yesterday, the two videos that went out was all about the council tax, and we've been talking about the liability order and the procedure of the council and that sort of thing. And I'm very grateful to one of my viewers who has sent in a copy of their liability order. They've redacted their own personal information from this. So I wanted to just share this first, because this, I think, is quite astonishing, and people will find it quite difficult to believe if you've never had this happen to yourself. So here it is. And as you can see, it says it's a summons for the non-payment of council tax. Now, this comes from the council, not from the magistrates' court, and we know that because, look, you can see in pink that it's been highlighted. It says you are hereby summoned for a hearing on the 11th at 11:45 on the 21st of the 1st, 2024, before the magistrates' court, and it has the address of that, to show why a liability order should not be made against you, right? So you've been summoned to a hearing, but read on. Your case is heard by the magistrate during a bulk liability order application. So they're not hiding that it's a bulk liability order. And it says there, you cannot attend the court hearing in person. Excuse me? You're summoned to court to defend yourself, but you cannot go to the court hearing in person. That's a kangaroo court, isn't it? That's a kangaroo court. You can't have the claimant going through the courts, muscling up to the courts and saying, we'll send out the summons, but you can't turn up in person because we've hired a room and there's going to be a bulk hearing. I mean, this is a nonsense. This is actually a video on and of itself, and I may come back to this as well, but I wanted to show you the feedback from that, and I'd love to see your comments about that. Meanwhile, in other subjects that we've covered, as you know, there seems to be a lot of people mysteriously dying all of a sudden. Prior to 2021, after a rollout of a certain medical intervention, people were dying. Yes, they were dying, and a few people had some rather difficult problems, but not by any of the extent that we've seen since the last 2 or 3 years. So have a look at this. This is just the latest one in a well-known publication. British Airways tragedy. A steward 52 dies in front of passengers on a plane due to take off from Heathrow for Hong Kong. And I'll leave the link in the description and you can check it out. A British Airways crew member collapsed and died in front of horrified passengers moments before the jet was due to take off. Now, this was sent in again by one of my viewers. I don't tend to read the Daily Mail itself. In fact, I don't read any of the newspapers, but it's interesting this had happened. Shocked holiday makers. Here we are, look. Watched in horror as the first aid was given to stricken crew member who had keeled over in the rear galley of BA Flight 32. However, look, the tragedy, it says here, was reported came in days just after a second BA steward, also 52, died in America on December the 23rd. And again, and this one, the worried colleagues had raised the alert after the male crew member failed to turn up for duty. He was later found dead in his hotel room. It's a tragedy. It's a tragedy. What I'd like to know is, were they injected with anything rather, that's supposed to be very helpful? Although we keep hearing now everywhere that this thing that was given to everybody was not so helpful. Mind you, those of you who've taken up smoking or perhaps chewing on a bit of nicotine are finding that this is quite a useful way, apparently, to get rid of a certain protein that's got a sharp spike in it, if I can put it like that. Let's have a look at something else that has come in then. Now, we're being told that, you know, having a vegetarian diet is a good thing, or go vegan. We're being told that, you know, we shouldn't be eating meat because meat, oh my goodness, meat is bad. Now, I'm not saying that the industrialized farming of cattle or pigs or chickens or any poultry or any of this is good. I'm not saying that, because I feel that actually we should get back to small-scale farms in which a humane treatment of animals should be attended to, and that people, of course, should be eating locally and farming. And you'll see I've got a video coming up where I'm talking to a couple who are looking at setting up a new, as many people are, a new sort of veg box and farming scheme. This is in North Somerset. This is coming up and talking about the problems that people have and how you get these things together and what's going on in the farmer's mind and all of that. That's all recorded, ready to go. So do look out for that. However, this is quite interesting. This is a report that comes from an outfit called Biological Sciences in Chicago. And it says nutrient found in beef and dairy improves immune response to you know what. That particular disease that you have to be very careful about mentioning on platforms like this. Scientists at UChicago discover that transvasiant acid, TVA, a vaxiant it may be, a fatty acid found in beef, lamb and dairy products improves the ability of immune cells to fight tumours. This was this came out in November last year. That looks like something made out of wool, but I guess that is an illustration of what's going on here. These transvasiant acids, TVAs, a long-chain fatty acid found in meat and dairy products from grazing animals, such as cows and sheep, improves the ability of CD8 plus T cells to infiltrate tumours and kill the dodgy stuff, let's say, according to a new study by researchers from the University of Chicago. Well, this is great news, isn't it? Finding nutrients that activate immune cells. This is something, of course, that a lot of people who may have had a certain intervention may be finding their immune system needs as much help as is possible. And we've seen how farmers are being targeted and told by the government, don't grow food, because there is this nonsense. Well, the global warming, the man-made global warming nonsense. Well, we know that this is complete hogwash, and that is coming through loud and clear to more and more people are waking up to this whole lie that has been perpetrated about the fact that, you know, we've got to not warm up the planet, we must get rid of CO2, and then farmers are told to put aside certain fields and things, and what do they call it, carbon set aside type thing, grow more trees and all that, which is great. I've got nothing against trees, but don't stop growing food and stop using pesticides, herbicides and all of those sort of things. Get back to small mixed farming would be the solution, and have humane cattle, poultry and pigs looked in a better way than we do with this highly intensive injecting things like antibiotics with the mRNA now shoved in it into the food chain. So people should be eating a lot more meat, and we do. And I tell you, once you get away from supermarket, highly industrialized, stress-killed animals in which they know they're about to die, and their body is full of stress, and hence the meat is full of stress, which is also passing on to you. Once you get away from that and you try proper, real, organic or near-organic, grass-fed cattle or whatever, beef like that, and you try that, there is no going back. Once you've sampled much better treated animals in the slaughter process, there is no going back. Now, you may remember that I mentioned just before Christmas that we have this election, and the election is a complicated thing, is it not? Because who are you going to vote for? Who are you going to vote for? Are you going to vote for the Conservatives and have more of this nonsense that we've got? Or are you going to vote for Labour and have even more of this nonsense? I mean, you know, there's a fag paper between the two of them. So what are you going to do? Or are you going to vote for some of the independents or the Green Party? Or are you going to vote for the Lib Dems or any of them? Or is the whole system itself hampered by the fact that it's lent on by these think tanks, the WEF, for example, or the WHO? It wants to have our sovereignty, or the United Nations, and the people who fund all these things. Is it that the whole system, and really you just want none of the above? Well, I'm indebted to Jo, sent me this, that her son has set up, and you might think this is a great thing to have to promote your ideas. So here we go. On Redbubble, I'll put the link in. None of the above. You can get now merchandise. This isn't my merchandise. This is just somebody who's set up enterprising the merchandise. You might want to have a look. You get hats and T-shirts and signs that you can put up, all that kind of stuff. Here we are. Let's have a look. And little cards and things, cups, mugs, bags. Fridge magnets, I think. Here we are. Let's have a look at this couple, see if this comes up. Here we go. This is what it would look like. None of the above, with a tick in it, a box and a tick. And you can buy a classic T-shirt, £19.30, and you can be promoting all of that. Let's have a look. There we are. That's what it looks like on there. There's the chap, there's the lady, and so on and so forth. None of the above. Just thought I would share that. You might find that of some interest if you want to sort of say, actually, I mean, it's not necessary. I mean, I know there's a guy, I did write to the guy who was trying to get it officially changed on the ballot box, but as far as I can see in my emails, I've not heard from him. And if he has emailed me, please email me again, because sometimes I don't see the emails, but I've not heard from him. But it may be just that you just want to get that out there to tell the system, we don't want you. We're turning our back on you. It's a useless thing. You caused us nothing but harm. We could do this better ourselves. Maybe that's the message you want to get out there. I don't know. Certainly the sort of message that I think, that I don't believe in registering to vote and then voting. I would rather elect the people I want rather than voting for their selection. And you'll know my views on all of that. Just my views. You may disagree. You're entitled to disagree. And finally, an event that's coming up very rapidly, if you see this very quickly and you're in the Sussex area and you fancy coming along, then have a look at this. No, not that one. Let's have a look at this. There it is. Stand together. If you're in one of these freedom movements and you're anywhere near Dorking in Surrey, I beg your pardon. It's in Surrey. You might like to come along on Monday the 8th of January. I'm a guest speaker, so they're promoting that. It's a lovely pub. You can buy some beer or whatever drinks you like and some crisps and things. I don't think they're doing food. Creating unity among the freedom movement. I just said I'd give it a plug on the show. So there it is. And you can come along to the Bull in Dorking at 7 p.m. So there we are. Marvellous. Well, thank you very much for looking to this. Hope you have a good weekend if you're watching this at the weekend. Things are going to go very fast this year. Information is going to flow in, and I'm going to try my best to get your emails, your responses, your feedback, information, of course, my opinions, my ideas, my suggestions. You may disagree. You're entitled to disagree, and all of that. And things are going to happen. It's going to be an amazing year. Keep positive. Hold your nerve. We are winning this. And I think we're going to see some amazing stuff happen over the next 12 months. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.